Imagine being able to peek inside the portfolios of the ultra-wealthy. Not the stocks they bought last year, not the companies they sold last decade, but right now, today, we're the 1% buying while everyone else is distracted. The answer will surprise you. It's not Bitcoin. It's not NFTs. It's not the latest meme stock. They're buying something much more powerful. They're buying the debt on the assets. They're buying the energy that powers the data centers. They're buying the future cash flow of songs you've already heard. Here are the 5 investments the 1% are buying right now, and why you should too. Imagine you're in a waiting room. You're about to meet a financial advisor. You think you know what they'll say. Stocks, bonds, index funds, the usual stuff. The door opens. The advisor walks in. They don't talk about stocks. They don't talk about bonds. They don't talk about index funds. They talk about farmland, private credit, infrastructure, collectibles, intellectual property. You're confused. You thought the 1% were buying tech stocks. You thought they were buying crypto. You thought they were buying hedge funds. You were wrong. Here's what the wealthy know. When the economy gets uncertain, they don't buy hype. They buy assets that will survive any market. They buy assets that most people don't even know exist. And they buy them before everyone else does. Here's the thing. The 1% aren't buying these assets because they're smart. They're buying them because they have to. Central banks have printed over $30 trillion in the last decade. That money has to go somewhere. It doesn't stay in cash. It flows into assets, but not the assets you think. It flows into assets that are scarce, assets that can't be printed, assets that will survive any market. That's why farmland is up. That's why private credit is booming. That's why data centers are being built at a record pace. The 1% aren't guessing. They're responding. Let me tell you about a farmer named John. He owned 500 acres in the Midwest. His grandfather bought it for $50 an acre. John sold it to a hedge fund for $8,000 an acre. The hedge fund didn't want to farm. They wanted the land. The 1% are buying farmland. Not just any farmland. Productive farmland. Land that grows crops. Land that produces income. Land that appreciates over time. Why? The global population is expected to hit 9.7 billion by 2050. More people means more food. More food means more need for farmland. Simple supply and demand. But there's something else happening. Climate change is shifting weather patterns. Water rights are becoming more valuable. The best farmland is becoming scarce. And scarcity drives prices up. Farmland has delivered around 11% average annual returns over the last 30 years. That's better than the S&P 500's 9.3% return. And farmland has a low correlation with the stock market. When stocks go down, farmland doesn't necessarily follow. What if you could become the bank? Imagine a company, a mid-sized company. It needs money to grow. It can't get a loan from a bank. The bank says no, so it turns to a private lender. A lender that charges higher interest. The lender makes money. The company grows. Everyone wins. The 1% are becoming the bank. They're lending money to private companies at higher rates than public markets offer. And they're getting paid first, before shareholders, before the government, before anyone else. Why is this attractive? Because private credit has historically delivered higher yields than public bonds. And it's uncorrelated with public markets. When stocks and bonds go down, private credit doesn't necessarily follow. Private credit has grown from a $300 billion asset class to over $1.5 trillion in just a few years. The yield premium over public bonds can be 300 to 500 basis points higher. That's a lot of extra return. You've seen the headlines. AI is exploding. The cloud is everything. But here's what they don't tell you. The cloud needs a home, a physical home, data centers, and the 1% are buying them. Imagine a building. It's ugly. It's windowless. It's filled with servers. It's a data center. It's the backbone of the internet. It's powering everything you do online. It's where AI lives. The 1% are buying data centers. Not because they're tech enthusiasts, because they know something you don't. AI is exploding. Big tech is investing billions. Those AI models need massive computing power. That means data centers and lots of them. Data center REITs have been outperforming the broader real estate market for years. The global data center market is expected to reach $500 billion by 2030. In the U.S., the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act is funneling $1.2 trillion into new projects over the next decade. That money has to go somewhere, and the 1% want to be there when it lands. Here are some key infrastructure sectors to watch. AI data centers. Big tech is investing billions in AI. Renewable energy. The energy transition is real. Cell towers and digital infrastructure. The 5G rollout is only accelerating. You can own a Picasso for $500. Imagine an art gallery. Paintings on the wall. Sculptures on the floor. It's quiet. It's peaceful. It's expensive. Very expensive. The 1% are buying art. Not because they're art collectors. Not because they appreciate the finer things in life. Because art has been an incredible investment. The art market has seen a 10.6% average annual return over the last 25 years. That's better than the S&P 500's 9.3% return. And art has a low correlation with the stock market. When stocks go down, art doesn't necessarily follow. The 1% are also buying other collectibles. Classic cars, rare wine, luxury watches, memorabilia. Classic cars have appreciated at roughly 8.3% annually over the last 2 decades. They're finite. They're desirable. They're a tangible store of value. This is the asset class most people miss. Imagine a song, a hit song, a song that keeps playing on the radio, on streaming services, in commercials, on movies. It keeps generating royalties. Years after it was written, decades after it was recorded. The 1% are buying music catalogs. Hypnosis Songs Fund spent over $4 billion acquiring music catalogs. They're not buying the music because they're fans. They're buying it because it generates royalties. The wealthy are buying pharmaceutical patents. They're buying brand licensing. They're buying assets that generate recurring income. Income that keeps coming regardless of the market. In 2024, private equity firms and family offices spent over $15 billion acquiring music rights. That's not a small number. That's a trend that most people don't even know exists. Here's what the wealthy know. Intellectual property generates income without active work. You create it once. It pays you forever. The 1% understand this. They're building portfolios of assets that generate recurring income. So how do you invest like the 1%? First, educate yourself. Most of these investments are not available at your regular brokerage. You need to learn about them, read about them, understand them before you invest. Second, start small. This week, look up a data center REIT like Equinix or Digital Realty, just to see how it works. That's your first step. Third, consider fractional platforms. Masterworks for art, Rally for collectibles, Yield Street for private credit, Royalty Exchange for music royalties. You can start with as little as $500. Fourth, think long-term. These aren't get-rich-quick investments. They're slow, steady, compounding assets. They're designed to build dynasties. Fifth, consult a professional. These investments are complex. They have different tax implications. They have different liquidity profiles. Make sure you understand what you're buying before you buy it. Sixth, understand the liquidity. Most of these investments are not like stocks. You can't sell them with one click. Farmland takes months to sell. Private credit locks up your money for years. Collectibles take time to find a buyer. Make sure you're comfortable locking up your money before you invest. Seventh, check the minimums. Some platforms require $500. Others require $5,000. Some require $50,000. Do your research before you commit. Don't invest money you can't afford to lock up. If this resonated, my next video will hit even deeper. It's called The Last 10 Years of Your Age That Determines If You'll Retire Rich or Broke. The investments you make in the next decade will determine your retirement. Not the hype, not the trends, the decisions you make today. Watch it. I promise you won't regret it. I'll see you there.